Inside this busy workshop, workers stack heavy wooden boards as the growing load becomes increasingly unstable. Manually supporting a growing stack of dense panels can create significant stability risks. At this street trench, workers load rocks into a dump truck while a loose rod supports the raised tailgate until the makeshift support suddenly shifts out of position. Using a temporary pole to support a raised tailgate creates a serious stability hazard. Heavy panels place substantial pressure on any support holding them in position, while movement and vibration during loading can cause an improvised prop to shift. Secure raised transport panels using their designated locking mechanisms or approved support devices before transferring materials. Atop this flatbed truck, two men pull a wooden cabinet backward as the bulky load places increasing strain on its frame. Applying strong pulling force to a heavy load can create stability and handling risks, particularly when the load is positioned near an elevated edge. If the cabinet or its supporting frame shifts unexpectedly, the sudden change can affect the worker's balance and footing. Working close to an open edge leaves little room to recover from an unexpected movement. Mechanical handling equipment and proper positioning provide better control when moving bulky materials on elevated surfaces. Position workers where they can maintain secure footing. Outside this residential property, a worker climbs a homemade wooden ladder as the frame suddenly becomes unstable under his weight. Using unverified climbing structures introduces significant stability risks. If the materials or joints are not strong enough to support the intended load, the ladder can shift or fail unexpectedly. A sudden change in the ladder's position can cause the climber to lose balance and create a serious fall hazard. Properly designed access equipment, stable positioning, and regular inspections are essential when working above ground level. Inspect all access equipment for damaged components, loose joints, or signs of wear before climbing. Inside this warehouse aisle, a forklift carries a towering pallet with limited forward visibility as it approaches another forklift. Transporting bulky cargo that blocks the operator's view can make it difficult to identify obstacles, pedestrians, or other equipment ahead. Limited visibility reduces reaction time and increases the risk of contact with nearby vehicles or structures. A sudden stop or collision can also cause tall or poorly secured materials to shift or fall. Maintaining clear visibility, controlling vehicle speed, and properly securing loads are essential for safe forklift operations. Use an appropriate travel direction or spotter whenever a load obstructs the forward view. Maintain a clear path, operate at a controlled speed, and keep pedestrians outside designated forklift operating zones. In a wood processing workshop, standing too close to the intake becomes a serious safety concern when active machinery begins pulling material in. Standing near active wood processing intake zones exposes a person to immediate contact risk from powerful moving components. These systems maintain immense force to pull and process raw timber, turning any nearby object into a target for rapid intake. When you position yourself too close, the machinery's pulling force quickly overcomes your stability. This quick, forceful pull occurs faster than anyone can react, leaving almost no margin to withdraw. Facility planners must install clear safety perimeters around all intake points. Operation leads need to restrict ground-level access during active processing. Beside this busy roadside trench, a dump truck raises its cargo bed high as the vehicle begins to shift backward toward the open excavation. Raising a dump truck's cargo bed changes the vehicle's center of gravity and can affect its stability. If the truck is positioned too close to an excavation or on uneven ground, the elevated load can increase the risk of movement toward the edge. Once the vehicle begins to shift, maintaining control becomes difficult. Proper ground conditions, safe distances from excavations, and controlled unloading procedures are essential to reduce rollover and instability risks. Outside this masonry site, a builder climbs an improvised ladder scaffold while another worker braces the base as the setup suddenly becomes unstable. Using a person to stabilize a makeshift platform is unreliable and can create serious fall hazards. As someone climbs higher, their weight can shift the center of gravity and place additional forces on the structure. If the base or frame moves unexpectedly, the entire setup may become unstable and cause the climber to lose balance. Construct elevated work platforms using properly secured and rated frames before climbing. Use engineered support systems, stabilizers, or approved counterweights where required instead of relying on workers to hold equipment in place. Inside this fabrication shop, 2 workers manually support a large freestanding wooden panel, while another adds heavy boards to the growing stack. Manually supporting a growing pile of dense material can create significant stability risks. As additional boards are added, the center of gravity may shift outward and place increasing pressure on the supporting workers and surrounding materials. If the arrangement becomes unstable, the stacked materials can move or fall unexpectedly, creating a serious hazard for anyone nearby. Mechanical storage systems provide more reliable support than temporary human strength. Secure standing factory inventory with rigid wall racks or suitable storage systems before organizing. Use appropriate mechanical restraints for heavy materials and keep workers clear of unstable stacks. Along this active paving route, a scooter moves beside a road roller as the uneven surface causes the rider to lose balance near the heavy machinery. Allowing civilian vehicles into active machinery zones creates serious collision and visibility risks. Large compactors and road rollers have significant weight and may require substantial distance to stop safely. Uneven or unfinished surfaces can also make two-wheeled vehicles more difficult to control. Keeping public traffic completely separate from active construction equipment gives operators the space needed to work. Block public traffic from active grading and paving areas using appropriate physical barriers and clear warning signs. Inside this retail store, a worker stands high on an extension ladder as his ground partner steps away, leaving the ladder base unsecured on the smooth floor. Using a person to stabilize a ladder on a smooth surface is unreliable and can create a serious fall hazard. Once the supporting person moves away, the ladder may shift as the worker's weight changes position. Smooth flooring can further reduce traction and allow the base to move unexpectedly. Secure ladders using appropriate stabilizing methods, such as approved anchor points or suitable anti-slip devices. Never rely solely on temporary human support to keep climbing equipment stable during overhead work. At this quiet roadside coffee shop, a speeding vehicle suddenly loses control, striking the glass storefront and sending debris across the entrance area. Driving at excessive speeds near pedestrian areas reduces the time available to respond to changing road conditions. High speed can also make steering and braking more difficult, particularly when a vehicle encounters an unexpected obstacle or sharp turn. A vehicle leaving the roadway can damage nearby buildings and create hazards for occupants, pedestrians, and staff. Maintain posted speed limits and adjust speed for road and weather conditions to preserve vehicle control. Where appropriate, use properly designed vehicle barriers or protective setbacks to provide additional separation between moving traffic and occupied buildings. Outside a storefront, footing is lost on a narrow rung. While descending a folding ladder, ladder descent requires steady contact, slow movement, and weight centered over the rungs. If one contact point loses grip, balance can shift faster than it can be corrected, especially near the lower section. Narrow metal rungs, dust, wet shoes, or awkward angles can reduce traction. Controlled ladder movement depends on 3 points of contact, facing the ladder and checking each step before weight transfers. A ladder should be climbed down with contact controlled and attention on the next rung. Rushing the final steps can remove stable footing. Maintain 3 points of contact, keep the ladder angle secure. At this elevated tank fabrication framework, a welder works from a hoisted metal crossbeam as the suspended beam suddenly shifts beneath him. Using suspended loads as temporary work platforms creates serious stability and fall hazards. Suspended materials are designed to move under controlled lifting operations rather than support workers. Even small movements can cause the load to swing, tilt, or shift unexpectedly when someone is positioned on it. This makes maintaining a secure working position difficult and places the worker at unnecessary risk. Construct properly anchored work platforms for all overhead welding tasks. Never use suspended cargo as a working surface, seat, or access platform. Inside this medical lobby, a visitor reaches for the main entrance handle as the large glass door suddenly fails and begins to break apart. Large architectural glass panels depend on properly maintained hinges, pivots, frames, and mounting systems to remain secure. If a component fails or the panel experiences unexpected stress, the glass can fracture and create a serious hazard for people nearby. Even safety-rated glass can present risks when damaged or improperly installed. Inspect entrance pivots, hinges, frames, and mounting points regularly for signs of wear or damage. Where appropriate, use safety glazing or approved protective films designed to help contain fractured glass and restrict access to damaged doors until they are safely repaired. On this outdoor decking project, a builder steps onto the highest metal rung as the section suddenly gives way beneath his weight. Placing body weight on the uppermost section of climbing equipment can create a serious stability risk, particularly when that area is not designed as a standing surface. Excessive weight or improper use can cause a rung or frame component to deform or fail unexpectedly. A sudden equipment failure can cause the user to lose balance and create a significant fall hazard. Keep both feet on the designated climbing steps and never stand on unsupported top sections. Use properly designed stairs, platforms, or access equipment when reliable elevated access is required. Outside this busy building site, a crane lowers a wrapped metal truss with workers positioned inside as strong drafts cause the suspended load to swing unexpectedly. Using lifting equipment to carry people inside an unsecured load creates serious fall and stability risks. Large wrapped surfaces can catch wind like a sail, causing a suspended load to rotate or swing beyond its intended path. Sudden movement can bring the load close to nearby structures and make control more difficult for the crane operator. Keep workers clear of suspended loads during lifting operations. Use approved personnel lifting equipment for any task that requires workers to be elevated. Across this wide warehouse floor, a yaberdisai. Driver takes an industrial lift into a sharp turn as increasing momentum causes him to lose his position on the machine. Sharp turns at excessive speed can create significant lateral forces on industrial lifting equipment. If the operator is not properly positioned or restrained according to the equipment's design, sudden movement can cause a loss of balance. The machine may continue moving while the operator struggles to regain stability, creating a serious fall hazard. Controlled speeds and proper operating procedures are essential when maneuvering heavy equipment indoors. High atop this concrete deck, a builder reaches for a drifting crane sling as the suspended load swings unexpectedly toward the unprotected edge. Trying to control a suspended load by hand can expose workers to powerful and unpredictable forces. As a heavy load swings, its momentum can pull against anyone attempting to grab or redirect it. Near an unprotected edge, even a small loss of balance can create a serious fall hazard. Workers should remain clear of suspended loads and use appropriate control methods designed for remote handling. Stop lifting operations when wind or other conditions cause the load to move outside the planned work area and keep personnel away from unprotected edges. Inside this active manufacturing plant, a technician reaches into an open industrial press as an unexpected cycle suddenly activates the machinery. Entering automated machinery without fully isolating its energy sources creates a serious entrapment hazard. Industrial presses can generate enormous force, and an unexpected activation can cause moving components to close rapidly. Relying on an emergency stop or human reaction is not a substitute for proper energy isolation. Before anyone enters a hazardous machine area, the equipment should be shut down, isolated, and secured against unexpected movement. Completely isolate and lock out all relevant energy sources before entering automated equipment. Use manufacturer-approved blocking or restraint devices to prevent stored mechanical or hydraulic energy from causing unexpected movement during maintenance. On this active shipping dock, a forklift approaches a raised concrete edge at high speed before the sudden stop causes the unrestrained driver to lose his position. Operating heavy vehicles at excessive speed near unprotected edges creates a serious loss of control and Ejection risk. When a moving machine encounters a solid obstruction, the sudden change in motion can cause an unrestrained operator to shift forward unexpectedly. Without a properly fastened seatbelt or restraint system, maintaining a secure position becomes much more difficult. Fasten the designated seatbelt or restraint before operating any vehicle. Follow site speed limits and maintain sufficient clearance from dock edges, barriers, and other hazards, especially on wet or slippery surfaces. Outside this suburban warehouse, massive entrance doors face strong winds as the heavy steel framing suddenly begins separating from its structural tracks. Large exterior panels can experience significant wind pressure during severe weather. Broad surfaces can catch strong gusts, placing additional stress on sliding brackets, tracks, and anchor points. If these components are damaged or unable to withstand the conditions, the structure may shift or detach unexpectedly. Keeping people away from large, moving, or unstable structures during high winds is essential for reducing falling object and structural hazards. Secure large exterior barriers with appropriately rated storm anchors and regularly inspect their tracks and mounting points. Inside a processing plant, ladder-based welding beside a massive silo creates a height hazard as balance and focus compete. Welding at height demands stable access, steady positioning, and clear control of tools and cables. A ladder can provide short access, but it is not ideal for sustained hot work. Bright sparks, hand positioning, cable drag, and narrow rungs can all reduce stability. Even a small lean changes the working angle and shifts the load on the ladder. Around large industrial structures, access conditions must be stronger than the task demands. For welding near silos or tanks, use a proper elevated platform whenever possible. Secure access equipment, control cables, and maintain three-point stability before work begins. A busy food pantry turns a routine rack movement into an equipment hazard when a base wheel detaches from a heavily loaded bakery frame. Moving heavy storage on faulty metal hardware causes sudden collapse. Tall rolling structures rely entirely on 4 solid points to stay upright. When a caster snaps off, it quickly destroys the balance. The massive weight of the stacked goods shifts toward the missing support. This rapid gravity shift completely overwhelms the base, pulling the structure to the floor. Equipment buyers must install highly durable hardware. Floor monitors need to demand visual inspections before transit. Material handlers have to step away immediately if structures tilt. Walking down a quiet city sidewalk, the path changes suddenly when a loose utility cover flips open under edge pressure. Heavy metal utility covers rely on correct seating to stay level over underground openings. If a cover is slightly shifted, one edge can act like a pivot instead of a stable walking surface. Weight on the wrong side may rotate the plate and remove support from the path above the opening. Careful movement near covers, grates, and plates depends on noticing gaps, tilt, rocking, or uneven surfaces. Sidewalk plates and covers should be avoided when they look raised, loose, or uneven. A home renovation work area shows the danger of unstable height setups when an extension ladder is balanced on a narrow scaffold frame. Stacking climbing tools to reach high elevations destroys your foundation. These structures require solid, flat earth to safely distribute weight. Elevating the base creates a dangerous pivot point. When you climb, gravity pulls backward against the top support. The lower platform cannot handle this strong force and quickly gives way. The setup loses stability in a split second, leaving you with no support to stop the fall. Site planners must measure target heights before starting tasks. Tool purchasers need to supply single devices long enough for the job. Every individual must plant bases on solid ground. To keep learning from these important workplace safety lessons, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications. Stay aware, stay safe.